Okay, short and sweet. This was the test ingot that we made in the last video. 3-degree angle everywhere. This was intended to be 2 inches thick here. This being equal. I didn't have enough lead melted to make it, but it showed proof of concept in any case. So what we are gonna do, I don't know if you can see that or not. The side view of it, side profile, is gonna remain 3 degrees. We're gonna make them 5 1/4 overall depth, with the mold remaining at 6 inches. And what they're gonna look like is the boat has double frames. And every other frame has a bronze floor in it, which I'm guessing is about, would be 3/4 of an inch. So now these ingots are meant to rest in between each frame, like so. I'll draw another one here, across here like this. This one goes down, in, over, and up, but up more, I guess. So, meeting in the middle. I believe they're going to screw down to the frames as well, so they must be going to drill the ingot after the fact. So what we're going to do today is just cut all the metal. You saw me cut the side plates in the last video for those. So I need to make 5 of these molds. So we need 10 pieces that yield 12 inches at the water line of 5 1/4 out of a 6-inch flat bar. So we'll set the saw up and get all those cut right now. I've got some time this evening before it gets dark, and we'll just get a bunch of pieces cut today. We need 10 pieces, 10 side pieces to make 5 molds. So we'll just cut 2 pieces off that are a little over 5 feet. And then that way we can just flip them back and forth without trying to flip the whole stick to make it happen. Okay, that was number 10. I'm now cutting number 11, and I'm going to cut a 12th as well while the saw's set up in case I mess one up when I'm notching them out or mess 2 up. So either we'll have extras to yield our 5, or we'll have 1 extra mold. Spin you around there. Not sure if you can see them right there. That's the 12 pieces. And now we're going to cut some 4-inch while the saw is set at 2 degrees. we'll cut the same 12 pieces to yield 5 pans, possibly 6. Okay, that was 12 of those. 12 of these here for the flat pans, just in case. Well, we need 5. Next piece I'm going to cut. These sit on a piece of flat bar to create the bottom seal. We weld it from the outside. So I need an end plate on there. So the base plate will be 1/4 inch stock. So I'll cut a plate that's 6 1/4 tall. So we'll reset the saw to square and cut 12 pieces that are 6 1/4 by 6 inch flat bar. And the same thing with these, which these will probably be, well, I'll figure that out while I'm cutting those. Okay, that's enough for this evening. I got all the side plates for both styles cut. I have all the end plates for both styles cut. And I have the base plates for the notched style cut. I got to dig out a piece of material that's going to work for the base of this because it's longer. I'm sure I have some more 4-inch flat to make that work. But that'll be the extent of that. So I need 6 of those. And then I need 24 handle pieces, but I could push and do it tonight, but I'd rather go take a break. All right, after a couple of false starts, I had made a pattern, or 2 patterns actually, overcut so that I could use the plasma to notch those out, but I wasn't getting the consistency that I wanted. So I think just to keep this project moving along quickly, I'm just going to lay them out. There's not that many pieces, 10 pieces. So I've set 3 different squares at 3 different numbers. I'll just use the plate saw to cut them. It won't take that long in the end, and it'll be pretty accurate. And then, just so I don't lose a spot, I can center punch that. And we'll have that to cut to. Rinse and repeat. All right, we've got those all notched out. And need to, they'll square up real nice across them. They're all really close to being identical. So I'm just going to run a flap disc over them to reduce just a little bit of a burr there, and we'll take all that off so that they go together nice. I think I'm going to build, since there's 5 of them, I think I'm going to build a plug. The critical dimension here, these are all 2 degrees, just so they don't interfere with each other. They can butt together at the tops. But the critical dimension for these, the ingot will go sit in the frame like this. This is 3 degrees, 3 degrees, 3 degrees. So I believe that's so that they stack up around the frame and they can create a radius. I don't know how that'll work. I guess it won't be anything but an outside radius. So there'll never be any more. But anyway, I think I'm gonna put together a small plug that I can just set these over when I tack them together, just so that they're all the same, because that's more important to me. We'll get them on 3 degrees, but I want them to be the same as well. All right. All right, we got the magic square here, and it is set to 3 degrees. This is only going to work for one side, so what I can do is clamp that up. A little light. Need about an inch in there. This leaning up against that. I think I should stack another piece in there just so that that's and this just right. So that's that side. Now the trick is get the other side to be the same. Remove all this stuff. That goes there. You can pull that. That doesn't allow that to move by it. I think what I want to do is reclamp that with that. I can put a big tack in the middle of that. Let me grab my hood. So the goal for now is to build this plug so we can just slot these in there. I'll put end stops in it. We'll have the other side in there, creating that, and then once the other piece is in there, I don't know if I'll put this one on yet, but what I want to be able to do is, I took all these, they were 90 degrees or so as a angle iron. I adjusted them so that they're at the 2 degrees that's going to fit in here. So I need to cut, one side should fit. Yeah, one side is 3.5 here, which will fit. So I'll have to cut that, and then both sides of the ones, half of them that go over here, to create that step in there. So I chamfered that so there's an eased corner to help with mold release. when they pour them. So if I can get this plug set, then I'll just come back. Well, that'll let me go have dinner, and then I can come back in the morning to start welding them up. Oh, careful. Where are we at here? Maybe be on the outside of that. Put the tack on that end. Yeah. You know, that looks pretty good. Yeah, and that should be 3 inches across there. Should be bigger than that. There's 3 inches. Oh, I see. You can't tell. Yeah, that's 3 inches there. Yeah, I like that. And all these pieces from the notches. Nice. Oh, that's great. Okay, so those are laying right in there. I don't see any. I feel a spot there. Pretty good. Okay, here's the lash up for trimming these down. They're hard to clamp. You need to shorten them. We'll start with one. I have this flat bar in here as a stop so that when it clamps down, it's clamping on both sides. The other end is clamped to the roll case so it can't move. Then we gotta fight, we gotta conquer the push of the blade. So we'll loosen this up and slide it down. Loosen that. Put that there as a clamp. Let's try this. Yeah. Okay, we took the stop out. It's the only way we can get it to clamp up. And then once that's tight, run this up there for push. Push stop.
nice. These back in. Short setting. Sweet. No, that's right. Come on. Okay. Why is it always like that? Oh, I can get it with the cord.
All right, well, there's those 5. I was hoping for 6, but I goofed up on the first one and getting the process down, so I skipped it. 5 is what we needed. 5 is what we got. I still have parts cut out for the flat pan ones. I'd really like to ship them all together, but I realize these ones have a lot of work to do once they're poured. They have to drill them so they can mount them to the frames, screw them down. So they've got quite, and they have to go in first. So I think I'm gonna go have something to eat and come back out, box them up, try to get them in the UPS tomorrow. Get them going up there as fast as I can so they can be working on them. That's the plan. If I had a little more time, I know Leo's pressed for time, so we'll just get them going as quick as we can. All right, that one fits. I think I'm just gonna cut them, I'll cut one more. I'll cut them one at a time after that, just to... I think what I'm gonna do here is just build a little plug. It's basically, that would represent the ingot. And that will, I'll be able to just build around it on the inside. It's gonna be hard to measure that now. Hey, it works. So we'll build the plug, and we'll build the plug and the first mold simultaneously. And we'll remove the plug and build the rest of them to that plug. This one here, the other side is more. Close your eyes. Little punch marks appear. Slightly different. Close your eyes, everybody. All right, we cut a little piece of tube steel to go down in here, which forces these out. I just cut this square because it's nearly square at 2 degrees. I'll go ahead and tack that in, and that should be our plug. These get filled to 2.5 inches. It's kind of a long side. I can see that bagging out pretty quick if the majority of them are going to be this, even though there's only 6. I think I'm going to put a stiff back on those, but I think we'll do it after the fact. I don't know what I'm going to put on there. I got a lot of 1/2 by 1.5 inch flat bar that would be pretty easy to put on there. It's a little more expensive to ship it up there. I'll come up with something, but I think I'm going to tack everything together, and then we'll weld them out. Do that. All right, let me cut some more parts. Come on, mate. Super. All right, I got to thinking about this as I was getting ready to ship these. I had wanted to add a stiffener bar at about the line where they're gonna pour the ingot to, which is about 2.5 inches. Whereas the first style of these is a little more unique to the boat, I believe. It may be common, I don't know if it is or not. But this style may very well end up getting kicked around the boatyard up there. I have no idea. So what I wanted to do is sort of, even though this would probably work for the ingots he needs to make, I thought I would add a stiffening rib to give them a little longevity just in case they get used again, because it seems like a pretty common shape. Everything's tapered 2 degrees to allow the mold to release, and it's about, yields an ingot about, it's 4 inches wide at 2.5 inches tall, and it's about 12 inches long. So it's about 50 pounds, which seems like a easy to manage, low, not likely to move style when it's stacked into place like a brick. In any case, so we're gonna finish these up and then get them boxed up. We're gonna make those 7/8. Okay, I think I've come to a conclusion on the size of the letters for this. If I take, I don't know if you can see this. This is what it's going to look like when it's embossed or burnt in there. I feel like if I make the font of this the same size as this, it almost looks like you're trying to, your eyes end up trying to read it. So I think what I'm going to do is I shrunk these down from 1 inch to 7/8 long. So I think I'm going to build the base of this at 1 inch plus about 1/8. So it's a tiny bit taller than that. So you don't try to read it as one word if you're not getting a full look at it. So the initials will be slightly larger, I think, on this here. So anyway, that's the plan. That's what I arrived at. That one's leaning a little bit that way, but I think if I use the setup and tack there, this is a little below center, that's okay. If I tack that, move it, get the other corner, that'll stay pinched and I can drive that back around. Try that. You know, I think if I tack that there, I'll be able to adjust it either way. We'll try it. Well, I think it's a little inconclusive as to whether or not it's going to work for the lead. I believe that if they have the brand hot when the ingots are still hot, that they'll be able to make an impression of some sort there, or some sort of maker's mark on it. I guess we'll find out.